Hello, welcome back. I am Charles Musgrove, host of the Answers That Count podcast, and we have another special show today. Be sure and hit the subscribe button. You're going to love this show. You're going to want to get notified when we put additional shows up. And we're going to talk about investment and money today. And guess what? The military, and we have our special guest back today, Mark Dutram with Bayview Private Wealth. Welcome back, Mark.
I love it. Thanks for having me. I love these episodes. I love coming spending time with you. And, very smooth running operation over here.
It's always good. And listen, Mark, everybody wants to be a better investor. People are, I don't want to overstate this, but people get frightened of making investments themselves. So you help take the emotion out of it to make sure that we have sound investment choices that are based on good historical data. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
You know, and I think the world is becoming a better place even for that, based on demand. So even an average mutual fund, the costs have come down on it, the transparency of it and things of that nature. And now you have exchange traded funds. So I think the industry is moving based on people's demand and need of becoming better investment vehicles for even. So now it just becomes on, what do I buy, right? And when do I buy it, and how long do I hold on to it, and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think with we've seen a lot of improvement in our everyday life with technology, how technology has changed and advanced. And I think with investment is just another example of that. I know on a previous show you talked about all of the data that you're able to gather to help make better decisions on investments for today and for the future. So that's just another example of that, and the transparency of what you're required to provide to the investor also, I think is a great improvement.
Yeah, like you said, technology today. I mean, I think about, again, I've been in this business for 30 years, what I have today versus when I started, right? The ability to look at, we talk about diversification. Diversification only benefits you if the assets give you, where the whole is better than the parts, right?
That's right.
So this synergy. And so we look at correlations. And so when one asset's going down, and that means another one's increasing. It's protecting you. And so many times people will come and they say, but I was diversified, Mark. They give me a statement. They've got 10 different funds or stocks, and then what we find is they're all moving together.
Right.
So really, they could have owned one and had the same net effect, right?
Right.
And so, being able to, and also stress test. What if the market is down 20% this year? What is going to happen to my portfolio? Well, we can actually put an actual dollar value to what that would do to your portfolio. What if interest rates rise 10% this year? And we can actually put a dollar value to what is actually happening to your assets, which is really substantial.
Yeah, I think that is so important that you're able to do that, and technology has allowed for that, and your firm especially does that. And I know you've described what your firm specializes. You've described that on other shows, and how you really have a focus on not having a large quantity of clients, but the quality of the service that you're able to provide your clients. So you focus on, let's have the right number of clients, not too many, but the right number, so we can give them the right attention. So that speaks very highly of your leadership at Bayview Private Wealth and what you do to offer great services to your clients.
Yeah, I mean, the goal could be, like many companies, just grow. If you're not growing, you're dying, right, in this kind of respect. And then, about money. But, I mean, it's about relationships for us. We feel like we're part of all of the families that we have. And, again, we have no more than 100 families at any given time that we work with, because then we know that we're going to be able to engage them on every level that we need to, whether it's estate planning, tax planning, investments, as we talked about, insurance, asset protection, whether you have a business or personal. And so we can engage them because we know we tried it, the different way. We tried being that large shop, and nobody benefited. We didn't benefit because, again, we were totally stretched way too thin. And then our clients didn't benefit because we couldn't engage them at a very personal level that we love and we enjoy. Again, we consider all the clients that we have family. And again, we engage them on even celebrating things outside of finances, whether it's an important anniversary, a promotion, a birthday, a milestone. We just love kind of being a part of their lives.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And another thing that you've done for your practice, which I think is very good, is you have different niches or categories of specialization that really allow you to provide an extra level of service to those that fall into that group. We talked about how you cater your services for women investors, and how you have a whole category on that and how you focus on that. And you also have another category that we're going to talk about today, and that is for the military families, for those military folks that come to you. You have a special niche for that. So let's talk about that, and let's I want to go to one of the reasons that you have a personal reason to specialize in this niche. Now look at this picture. Do you recognize the guy that's in that picture in front of that huge helicopter?
I do not recognize him at all. Yeah, that is actually that was taken in 1989. I
Wow.
think. Yeah, that's almost like a different lifetime ago.
So that is Mark in another lifetime.
Yes.
Now, were you the pilot of that huge helicopter?
No, I was a navigator.
Okay.
So what they call a financial or engineer, and but we did primarily middle seat navigation for those types of things, and but it was probably one of the most, I don't know, most impactful things I've ever done in my life. I mean, we were part of a special ops group down in the Panhandle of Florida. That's actually what brought me to this area, and man, I'll tell you, it just teaches you trust and patriotism and brotherhood, and just, for the love of our country, the things that we were able to do. It's probably one of the most impactful things in my life.
Yeah, that's so cool. And Mark, I want to say thank you for your service, for number one, and I'm sure that was probably one of the most impactful things that you've done in your life. So thank you for that. And I'm sure that we could probably spend the rest of the show talking about stories and things that some of us older folks remember in real time that we lived through. So you were part of that in special ops, being on those big helicopters. So thank you for that. And how did that? So once you started your career in the financial management, you wanted to make sure that you took care of those military personnel, either current and ex-military personnel. And we're in a military dominated location here in the United States where we're located. So it really caters well to our population here.
It does, and I mean, it was kind of a natural fit for me. So having already lived it, right, being a part of the military, and then seeing, I don't think the base does a great job. And again, as I said, things are getting better all the time about kind of educating our military. But they have very different benefits, right? And whether it's retirement, whether it's insurance, whether it's long-term care, or whether it's disability. So just kind of seeing all the different benefits that they have. And then I just noticed it was kind of a little bit of a migration that we had for our clients. We tended to attract and appeal to, military folks. So we decided, again, yes, we're going to develop a niche that we will have a big portion of our book that will focus on exactly that, helping people understand the different types of benefits that are available. And as you said, our part of the country, whether you're active duty or whether you're one of the defense contractors, there are so many people that actually serve our military, and we love those guys, right? So we're, matter of fact, people in our office generally have either some type of affiliation, either had served or have a family member that was a part of the military. So it means a lot to us, and then helping them either while they're still active duty, if they're a defense contractor, or then even that transition towards retirement.
Interesting. So when they're active duty, what does the federal government provide those active duty personnel as far as their investment management, what their retirement is invested in? So what do they provide that is either good or bad, or how you can help supplement that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. So even as of 2018, what was called the Thrift Savings Plan, which is the primary retirement system. So you had a pension, right? And then you had a thrift saving plan, like a 401k, right? And as we know, in most cases, 401 pension plans are going away, right? People don't want to have that obligation of having a pension anymore. So now they have what's called a blended retirement plan. But we help them, so if you're active duty, or even if you're a federal employee, right? So civil service, things of that nature, you're investing in this, what's called the thrift savings plan. And so what we try to do is help people invest in the proper way, even within inside of those parameters.
Right.
So like if you work for a company, you typically would not have a universe of investments that you can invest in. You would have a menu of options that are provided within that plan. And so we try to help them, again, yes, to maximize their thrift savings plan while they're maximizing outside. So from a tax savings standpoint, are we taking care of all the tax benefits that we could?
Right.
And then outside, are we still maximizing our investments, and are we maximizing our tax savings for that particular family?
So you take that model that you utilize in allocating the assets and knowing what people should be invested in, and you apply that to the active military as well as the non-active, and look at their 401k or their thrift savings plan to make sure that they have the correct allocation based on their total plan.
Yeah, and that's a great point. So even the thrift savings plan, which is now just a huge size of it. Think of all the people that are active duty or government employees that participate in that. So very large funds. And then what happens is, like, they have what's called a C fund, which is just really large cap blend, I would categorize it. But it has what's called a beta. A beta has a direct correlation with the S&P 500. So as the S&P 500 is moving, it is moving almost in lockstep with that particular index. Well, that's good if the index is going up, right? But it's not good if the index is going down. And so people don't know. So, you have, again, a short-term fund called a G. You have a fixed income fund, F. You have, again, the large cap. You have a small cap. You have international. But it doesn't have some of the other categories that you might include in somebody's portfolio, like commodities or real estate or other types of asset classes. So, yeah, we try to, complement what we're doing for them outside.
Right.
To best match what they have available for them on the inside. So one of the great benefits of the thrift savings plan is the cost. I mean, it has a very low cost structure to it, which is fantastic. But again, it would be fantastic if they had just a little bit more diversification capabilities inside the thrift savings plan.
Right. So what you're able to do is, what's in that thrift saving plan. So each military person that you advise, you have the same investment option. So you just know how to cater that or have them invest differently in the thrift savings plan to complement what they have outside of the plan.
Yep. So now that's including what? Their risk tolerance,
right?
How much they can, tolerate volatility, and then their age, right? And then their goals. Yeah. What are we trying to accomplish? What types of rate of return so we can manage expectations? Because many times, particularly that one, again, very narrow menu of options that you have available in there. They've added some now lifestyle. You heard of lifestyle funds and things of that nature, but they're still combining those same, 4 or 5 funds that they have as a part of it. So trying to help people invest as opposed to even like a 401k plan. A lot of times we see people, how they pick their 401k investments is based on past performance. Right. They're looking in the rearview mirror and they go, hey, this fund was up, 28% last year. Well, again, that's what already happened. And so may not be the best strategy of picking future.
As we talked about before, you can't chase the winners from last year because they may not be current year winners.
And most often not.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Even if you look at that big quilt of things, the last year's top performers generally next year's lower performer.
Yeah. We have the slide up now, what military planning looks like. And one of the things that came to mind is the active personnel that's in the military. They may have, their lifestyle is a lot riskier than somebody that goes to the office every day or just has a non-military active life. And you mentioned special ops. Even within the military, you have different risk levels. So that has to influence your advice on what they should be invested in, their life insurance, and the whole range of what they should be doing.
I mean, thank you. Yeah, intuitively, we should think that way, right? That they live a very different lifestyle. So not only do they have benefits that are different, right, than the average person, they have a riskier lifestyle depending on what they do. Guess what? They move a lot. Right?
Oh, yeah.
More than the average person because they're changing bases. So they might have actually real estate in many different states. So that would involve different estate planning. So yes, we try to, again, help them in what would be a typical military lifestyle, manage all the different things that you're talking about. Risk, different types of real estate, different locations that they've lived in over time.
Right.
And then even, they typically retire earlier, right?
True. And they may have a second career.
You're exactly. So
Right.
most of the time it is going to be. So we help them in that transition, even from active duty to what does that next chapter look like? And many times it might be that they go in and they start some kind of consulting business, or they go into, again, a civil service job, or they even just join one of our defense contractors in our local community.
Yeah, I think that's so important. It's good to hear that you're doing that you're really helping that military, the active military, and also those that have retired from the military, because they are important people to our country's history and the future. So let's take care of them, because they do have, their lifestyle is so much different than other people that are non-military, and there's so many factors that you have to take into account when you're helping them with their financial plan.
I do. I have a heart for helping them to make sure they're successful and things of that nature. I mean, teachers in this country, I don't think we pay quite well, but the enlisted in the military, they don't make a lot of money, right? And so making sure that they start off, we talked about compounding in a previous show.
Yeah.
Making sure that they start early and have the right habits. Matter of fact, I think people even target the military. Auto, dealers and things like that. They try to make military believe you got to have a new car every year, and they just start. Credit card debt, so how to handle debt, how to, there's just many things that if we get them off on the right foot, they can have a very successful retirement. If they get off on the wrong foot, there could be a lot of habits that they ingrain that take years to unwind. Right?
Yeah, and you can't get that time back once it's elapsed, and you want to make sure that, like you say, it's so important to invest early and have that money invested because of the compounding. And it takes out, as we talked about before, time has a tendency to take out the ups and downs in the market, and it smooths that out to an upward trajectory.
Yep. And then, like I said, as you transition, you're going to have life insurance decisions on whether you take some of that now that was, term type of insurance, but you could have it now transition to the private sector.
Right.
And what that looks like, and whether it's worth doing it, or is there alternatives that you can actually do. There's long-term care coverage that is actually specific for military. So pensions, 401k plans, as you talked about, insurance, is many different things that they have choices to do.
Right.
Yeah, man, I love that. What you're saying is kind of, we have on our website just different things that we do. So it's not uncommon that you'll have multiple generations of military, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, how do we kind of meet those goals for those families, right, as they kind of go through. But there's many things that we have to address, whether it's education on benefits, tax planning. Again, typically there's multiple states that were involved that own different assets. And then, unfortunately, military, maybe like any, there may be multiple families, right? So there were divorces that took place, and second marriages, and children that are, from different marriages that all require special planning. Right. Especially because you love all those people and you want to make sure they're all taken care of. And so you have to put plans in place to make sure that that's done.
Now I know you've talked about this before, but regardless of the niche that you fall in, you want to make sure that if you're not working with Mark, you want to make sure that you look for an accredited investor. You want to make sure that you're working with people with the right credentials. So speak to that a little bit, and what should people look for when they're shopping for financial advisors?
Yeah, I love that. We always say referrals too, right? I mean, if somebody's used somebody and they're good, they did a good job for them, just like people refer hairdressers or physicians or whoever, get a good recommendation. But then when you're hiring somebody, we call it the alphabet of credentials that are out there. But I mean, there are even companies that give their own credentials inside the company. I mean, look for some nationally accredited credentials, nationally recognized credentials. Look for somebody that's a fiduciary, right? So you hear that term more and more nowadays. We talked about the industry getting better, but more than a suitability standard, somebody's held to a fiduciary standard, meaning your interests have to be before their own. Any conflicts of interest have to be disclosed to you. So make sure that whoever you're dealing is a fiduciary, right? So experience. You could have even somebody that has credentials that is going to be learning, on you, right?
Yeah, you don't want that to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. We say good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. Well,
True.
you don't want to be the ones that actually have, and I'm speaking from, experience myself, through investing over 30 years, I made some bad decisions. And I mean, it's just the fact of how it goes. And so, yeah, somebody that maybe has been in the business for a period of time, but that's such a great point because, and maybe somebody that is familiar with whatever profession you're in. I mean, if you're a physician, do they know physician? Do they know the different types of benefits? If you're military, do they know, the types of military benefits? If you're a defense contractor, are they familiar with, whatever type of employee benefits that you actually have within your company?
So the defense contractor, that's another category. How does it relate to those military and ex-military?
Yeah, so oftentimes, right, we do our classes at the college that are preparation for people that are getting ready for retirement or have already retired. So we have one that's kind of like we call a retirement tune-up, and then we have one that's called retirement planning today. But there are many people, like you see on the screen, that have come to those meetings, right, or those educational events. Again, as a matter of fact, 6 hours of teaching. But you'll have a Lockheed Martin or a Boeing or somebody come and we teach them all the things that you need to do, right? From a tax planning standpoint, from an estate planning standpoint, from an investment standpoint, all the factor base we talk about, we teach them that stuff. I say at the end of the day, I want you to be more educated so you can defend yourself, again, about making wrong decisions, and that you will be more successful in retirement. You have greater peace of mind. But some people then will say, that's a lot of stuff. I don't really want to do it. My interests are in these different fields. I don't like finance or whatever. And so they'll say, can you help us, right? And so, yes, all these names that you see on the screen, we have people from those companies that we work with that, as you said, they were military at one point, many of them, and now have made that transition to the private sector, but still working in the defense industry, but still need care. So it's nice that when we worked with them when they were active duty and even made that transition, because then you're helping them even in that process. But all those are, again, we love every one of those guys because they're serving our country in such a incredible capacity, right?
Right. A lot of times they're still doing very similar activity. Their employer is different.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And even the government transfers back and forth between whether it has a federal employee do the job or a defense contractor.
Right.
Either it's the civil service it's funny how they kind of go back and forth, but it's a space that again, just requires some special knowledge with regards to their particular benefits.
Yeah, I applaud you for catering to that niche and that group of people because they really need that. Hand-holding is probably not the right word, but that special care.
Yeah, kind of coaching and walking alongside them with it.
Exactly.
And my heart, probably biggest there. Because again, I have an affiliation with the military and and then our area.
Right.
It's just so big.
Yeah, it's there you are once again, and that's really the genesis of you catering to that special niche, especially in this market. So thank you so much for doing that. And anything else before we wrap up the show today?
No, it's my pleasure. Like you said, if you like doing finances, taxes, educate yourself and then do it, right? I mean, you can, there's lots of information out there today, especially with technology, but if you don't like it, right? If investing or tax planning or things are not your forte or you don't really find pleasure in it, it's going to become drudgery to you.
Right.
Find somebody. And as we said, not necessarily even Bayview, but find somebody that actually knows your space, that actually has some credentials, has some experience, and they're going to make you more successful. Again, we don't work for free, as we always say, and there's no way we should, but we show you how we earn our fee, right? And so I've never heard anything positive about a fee in my life unless you're earning it.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
But no.
So yeah, that is so good. And I'll leave you with one final note is that it is as you've often heard say, it's complicated. So you may teach them the tools, but markets change, market conditions change. Your investment choices should change also. So it's a very complicated process for investment and making sure that you have a sound financial plan. So I would strongly encourage you to work with with Mark Dutram at Bayview, or find a professional that fits you in your location. With technology today, they don't have to be in the same geographic location, but find a fit, work with a professional. It'll make your life a lot easier. It'll make you rest better at night as well. So, Mark, thank you so much. This has been so informative, and it's been a great conversation we've had. You've been watching Answers That Count. I'm your host, Charles Musgrove. Have a great day. Have a blessed week. Peace.